Hi and welcome to the Resources Roadhouse Lockdown Lowdown series, and I am joined once again by Mark Arundell, who's Managing Director of Sky Metals. So Mark, you've had some good news of late for some drilling announcements carried out on the Hume target at your Cullerin Gold Project over in New South Wales. The results have provided some valuable insights into the mineralisation at Hume. Could you just fill us in on the details of those?
Sure, thanks for that, Wally. So today we released the results from a series of holes that we've drilled around the original intersection that we got in a drill hole called HUD 2. Probably the standout from that drilling so far has been HUD 7. We released a result of 69 metres at 2.2 from a depth of 49 metres downhole. Probably the most important part of that one is there's some high grade intersections within that, 33 at 3.5 from 51, and pretty stellar 14 metres at just under 7 grams from 68 metres. One of the other drill holes that we thought was going to come up with something interesting, hole 5, which is a couple hundred metres to the north of hole 7, has actually come back with quite a significant base metal intersection, albeit quite a bit deeper. But about 12% combined lead zinc and another 1% copper within that intersection over about 6 metres. But in terms of the gold story, basically now we've defined a high-grade gold target over about 400 metres of strike. We've got a much better handle on where the mineralisation is occurring now. So we know that the proximity to what we defined as the Hume fault was important beforehand. But now we're really seeing that there's a particular type of silica sericite alteration associated with that mineralisation, plus lead zinc base metal sulfide mineralisation.
Okay, and there's still some news to come on these couple of holes, the results you get, I believe, because the way I read the announcement, one of the holes you've had the assay results for about, a certain intersection, and there's more that the assays are still to come on. Is that correct?
That's right. So south of hole 2, there are 3 drill holes, HUD 8 to hole 10, where we've identified what we call the mineralised package or the mineralised sequence. In each drill hole is greater than about 50 metres. In the assay results, we expect to come through on those particular drill holes in the next couple of weeks. The other thing that this drilling, particularly hole 8, which is our most southerly hole, has identified is that the mineralisation is open to the south, and when we say open to the south, we mean open to the south at a shallow depth. So we reckon we went into the mineralised package in hole 8 at about 45 to 50 metres downhole. The other thing is that once we can actually start defining these zones in what we call the shallow, if you like, we'll start looking at the depth extent on those ones as well. The other thing with that is there's been a number of historic drill holes that were put into the Hume target that have been stored at the Mines Department core shed. We now have access back to that area, and we're resampling and we're sampling edibles that previously haven't been cut. So far, I think we've sent about 400 samples to the lab in areas where drilling has occurred, but the previous explorers didn't think it was actually worthwhile cutting the drill core. And we're seeing what we're after, this silica sericite alteration with the base metal sulfide in these drill holes in areas, unfortunately or unfortunately, were never sampled beforehand.
It's always a fascinating story when that comes to light, when so many they pick up a project of somebody and they have reasonable success when the previous company thought, oh no, we won't bother with that. It's just one of those interesting ones that does tend to come up every now and then.
Look, one of my life's ambitions is to find an ore body in the Mines Department core shed. I think they're probably one of the most valuable things that the geological surveys in every state can actually do. and having access to even just log the drill core is fantastic, because it's telling us so much more about the geology. But being able to sample these drill holes, particularly when you see that the core is full core, so it's never actually been sampled before, just an unrivaled opportunity to progress this project much faster. So it's saving us a huge amount of money in terms of having to drill the holes. But yeah, we're also able to move much quicker. So I like to say we've actually got a drilling program underway in the core shed, courtesy of New South Wales Government at the moment.
As busy as you are at Hume with everything going on, you've also lifted the eyes, so to speak, and have added to the company portfolio with the Iron Ridge Copper Gold project, also in New South Wales. Is that right? Correct. That's correct. Iron Ridge, isn't it?
Iron Duke.
Iron Duke. That's it. Yeah. I knew I should have written Iron Duke down. Okay, so the Iron Duke project over in New South Wales, what's attracted you to this particular project to make you add it to the portfolio?
Very good question, Wally. So we've just signed an option to purchase agreement on the Iron Duke project. I suppose the immediate thing that we noticed when we were reviewing this one was that both the mineralisation at Iron Duke was open to the south and is open down dip as well. Probably the major thing that got us interested in it is the tenor of the gold grades associated with the copper at Iron Duke. So there's some historic drilling that was completed in 2011, 2012. One of the holes intersected about 4.5 grams gold and 1.5% copper from 37 metres down hole. So that 13 metre intersection at 4.5 gold, even by itself, is pretty impressive. One of the other holes adjacent to that, hole 6, hit 1.5 grams, 1.5% copper over 24 metres from about 50 metres down hole. So immediately we could see that there was quite good high grade tenor in the copper and the gold at Iron Duke. But the nice thing about these deposits out in Western New South Wales, Iron Duke's are located about 150, 200 kilometres west of Dubbo, so it's sort of on the margin of the Cobar belt. These Cobar deposits don't necessarily have a huge surface footprint, but they tend to go to the ends of the earth. So, you're seeing in deposits like the Peak Gold Mine at Cobar or at CSA or even at the Hera deposit, they may not be extensive in their surface footprint, but they've actually got a huge depth extent. Also in the area, there's a series of workings about 2 kilometres to the south of Iron Duke called the Christmas Gift area, and there's very little work actually been undertaken in that area there. And in fact, there's been no drilling conducted in that area at all. So we can see that there's a bit of copper gold from some historic work in surface soils in the area. So we presume we're going to have a number of what I would call walk up and drill targets in the Iron Duke project in the next couple of months.
Are we busy anywhere else on the portfolio?
Well, the major focus at the moment is the Cullerin project. So we've been doing quite a work on Hume itself, and quite a bit of drilling there over the last couple of months, waiting for the results come back from the last couple of holes from that program, and then we'll be following that up. The intention is with a multi-drill rig program in the not too distant future. We've also been working on another couple of targets. Hamilton's probably the one we've done the most work on at Cullerin, which is about 2 k's or so to the north of the Hume target. We've completed soils and geological mapping in through that area. That's basically told us there's a bit more work to be done in that area. And we've also completed some soils over what we call Hume North, and we're still awaiting the results to come back on that. We're hoping that'll be generating some more drill targets. Further to the north, we've got another one called Garunda. We've just recently done a review of historic work in that area. There's been quite a lot of historic work, but mostly focused on copper, lead, zinc, and the gold has been subsequently neglected. So we see opportunity in this whole belt, basically, at Cullerin and the other tenements we've got. primarily because they've only really had a base metal focus. Unfortunately, if there's a dot on the map, you can pretty much guarantee that soil sample's only ever been analysed for copper, lead, zinc. And I think that's the opportunity we have in tenements like Cullinan, that we can add a gold flavour to these tenements that's never been seen before.
Well, that sounds like we're going to have to keep our eye on Sky Metals and all the work that's going on there at the moment, and that's exactly what we will be doing here at the Roadhouse, and we're bringing all the news to our readers and our viewers here. So until the next time, Mark Arundell from Sky Metals, it's always a pleasure to have a chat, and thanks very much for joining us here.
Great to have a chat, Wally. We'll see you again soon.